on PlayStation.
I noticed that you PS5 controller. You don't.
No.
Okay. I don't know. Yes, we're live.
Oh.
Are we?
Yeah.
Whenever I wear them, it gives me the ear sweats, and I don't realize it until after I take them off.
That's what he was saying.
And everybody all sweaty and clammy.
It's not that my ears sweat. It's just like fucking hurt, man.
I'm talking about the ones here.
Oh, here.
Yeah, here.
Are you on the PS5 like wireless headsets?
No, it's a pair that Caden got me for Christmas or Father's Day or something, and it's just like.
So you can go and get like Astro or a few other companies make like suede muffs.
They're fun. I think it's just like just calm down. It's the same. Honestly, the same thing happens with my Bose, Beats by Dre's. You know those that he made.
Yeah.
When I'm on the plane.
So do you like the AirPod style, like the small little earbuds, or do you like the muffs?
That I've gotten to where I like the AirPods. So I was a Beats by Dre guy because I used to fly a lot.
Yeah.
And I could just you wouldn't have to hear crying babies. You wouldn't have to hear anything on the plane. You just shut down, and then I could just fall asleep. Right. But then I would wake up from a 2-hour flight and be like, damn, my ears are sore because it's just pressing down on your ears the whole time.
The AirPods don't really make my ears sore.
No, those are
AirPods.
Yeah.
I can do the AirPods all day long. But then I heard that the noise canceling.
But the muffs are not going to touch your ears. The muffs are going to touch your ears, but the AirPods don't touch.
It rests inside.
Yeah.
The ear canal.
So have you tried the noise cancellation AirPods?
No.
I guess it's
I did. They got stolen at tailgaters.
Yeah.
That's the new thing.
That's the new. They're yeah.
They have
a new version.
They have a thing where you click in your ears and you hit it and it's noise cancellation.
Yeah.
So I've actually
inside your phone.
I shot a gun with some noise cancellation headphones, and it cancels out the noise, but I can still hear you talking.
Huh.
So whenever I shot it, the firing of the gun wasn't loud at all. It was completely suppressed.
Yeah.
But I could hear it.
I enjoy the old school headphones because I like the sound of music more.
What about the old school ones that look like Oreos that just
that never fit your ear and that was broke?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or get crackly.
Yeah.
We need to bring those back.
We need to bring CDs back.
CDs.
I think I have a bunch of CDs.
I have Micah's, yeah, for sure. Shout out to Falls from Grace.
What was your first CD, Josh? Do you remember buying?
If I had to guess, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I remember it probably was Pearl Jam 10 because I went to St. Martin. I used to really like country. Believe it or not, most people in 7th grade at St. Martin wear flannel. So I was one of those kids.
Okay.
And then I'll never forget this. I was in 9th grade. I think Colin was obviously in 11th grade. He had some buddies who were obviously seniors, and they were all playing baseball. He came home one day. I was listening to I don't know, Garth Brooks or George Strait or something stupid like that. And he's like, man, one of his buddies, you probably knew Chris Blake. You actually met him.
Yeah.
Coach Blake?
Yeah, Coach Blake.
The Coach Blake?
Yeah.
Okay. I think he's my teacher.
Yeah, he came and he was like, what the hell you listen to? And I told him, he's like, man, turn that shit off. He's like, listen to this. And I did. I listened to it, Pearl Jam 10. It was obviously a tape back then. And I was like, dude, this is what's up. And so that's when I quit listening to country and started listening to alternative. And, obviously.
See, I pegged you for a Hardy kind of guy or a Morgan Wallen.
I do like them now. Yeah. So fast forward, I went back to, so I got away from country, obviously in 9th grade, and then went back when I was having my son, Caden, wasn't born yet, but he was on the way. And what's his name? Kenny Chesney came out with that song, There Goes My Life. And it was just such a cool song. And I guess it really resonated with me. So it's like, you know what? Country ain't that bad. So I kind of jumped back on the country train. So I feel like I listen to anything.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I can go from any end of the spectrum, and I don't claim just one either. But let's talk about Caden for a minute because this dude impresses me. I mean, he's a grown man now, but I remember whenever he was a little kid. I mean, what's all he doing at school now? He was in the robotics team. He's involved in everything.
Yeah, I mean, he's done a lot. I guess. All kids in high school just kind of trying to find themselves. But, he was playing soccer for a while. And I think he kind of just got out of that. And then he was doing the robotics team. I mean, he's at this
Where's he
point.
going to school? Is he going to Ole Miss?
So, obviously I graduated from Mississippi State, electrical engineer. So I think a part of him wants to like do that and sort of make me happy. But I've kind of told him like, hey, you don't have to go to Mississippi State. Like, think outside the box. Like for me, growing up, it wasn't, not to say it wasn't an option.
So let's go into like electrical engineering at that time though. Like, I mean, how'd you find out about this degree, this job?
So that was kind of, I guess that's what I was about to say is like, for me, my mom and dad, like they didn't really say like, hey, let's go visit this campus. Let's go visit that campus. It was just kind of like, hey, what do you're good in math, right? You're good in science. Like go be an engineer. Your next door neighbor's an engineer and he does really well. So I was like, all right, cool. And that's kind of what I did. And so when I went to JD for my first semester, they're like, what do you want to graduate? And I was like, I guess engineering. And so I just kind of picked it and then just kind of stuck with it. And then finally, when I went up to state, same sort of thing. I was like, hey, I was like engineering and they were like, which one? And I was like, oh man. So then I kind of had to like pick one.
Yeah, there's 30 types of engineering.
But at the time, how many types were there? Can you name?
I mean, it was a bunch, like computer engineering, chemical engineering, mechanical engineering, civil engineering, electrical. Obviously, I chose electrical. And so I think it was probably part of like some of my friends were already in that one as well. I mean, you guys had Brad Patano on here.
Shout out.
Kenny
Brad.
Kenny Beverin.
MP Designs.
Yeah.
We will plug you.
They got a lot of good Mississippi State engineers, civil, electrical, mechanical. I think they got them all, quite frankly. So yeah, that's kind of how
made the offer for you to come work with them yet.
I think I had already shifted over to the dark side by then. Like I was well into sales before MP ever existed. Okay. I get like ridiculed a little bit by some of those guys because, we all went into engineering. We were all up there together, taking a lot of those same classes. And most of them, when they got out, they went to go, get their FEs and then their PEs.
So in engineering though, like with a lot of that math and just doing the schooling and getting into that, like going from sales to engineering, I mean, electrical engineering is a pretty tough area, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
For you to just go from there, jump to sales.
One of the hardest. Well, it was kind of interesting. It's funny. You ever heard of a lollipop moment? Well, Google it, YouTube it. They talk about it on these
Garrett, pull
TED
it
Talks.
Pull up a lollipop moment.
There's a really famous TED Talk. It's about these like lollipop moments where it's this moment in life where you have a conversation or interaction with someone. And I'm just kind of like giving you the Cliff Notes, paraphrasing, so to speak. But like, it changes the course of your life.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And I've had those.
And you like.
I've never called them lollipop.
You never
moments.
forget it. There's a name for them.
Yeah.
And you never forget that conversation as long as you live. And so for me, I had one of those. And I was I was at state, went to state. I think it was my first full year up there. I did the whole internship program, and I applied for a bunch of different positions and ended up getting one with Bell South at the time, which is now AT&T.
Yeah.
And it was in Jacksonville, Florida. And for me, I was like, hey, telecommunications, Wi-Fi, cell phones, like that's kind of the future.
Groundbreaking.
Yeah, exactly. And it was in Florida, which also was pretty cool.
Groundbreaking.
Got me out of Starkville for like a semester.
Get out of Mississippi for a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so that was like, a priority, like a check the box sort of thing. And so I went out there and I did my semester on, semester off, semester on, semester off. And then it was the sort of the region GM. He was over like the whole North Florida division, pretty high up the chain. He was kind of the boss. And so when I was there, it was like me and like 5 University of Florida interns. And so basically they, at like that last semester, right before I was scheduled to go back to state and kind of graduate, he was like, hey, give me a call. He's like, hey, you free? Let's go grab lunch today. And I was like, all right, cool. I'll tell the rest of the team. He's like, no. Just me and you. I was like, oh, dang. Like, what is this about?
I'm getting fired.
That's the first thing that's going through my head, right?
You did something wrong.
Right. Like, oh, shit. Here we go. And so he kind of like took me to this really fancy Omni hotel, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 star restaurant down in the bottom. And we went there for lunch. And he just kind of started giving me some like sort of fatherly advice in a sense. He was like, hey, look, first things first, we've really enjoyed having you. It's been a great, year, blah, blah, blah. We want to make you an offer when you graduate next semester, right? Like, we'd love to have you, have you here in the Jacksonville team, et cetera. He said, but if I were you, if I was your father, if you were my son, there's some advice I'd like to give you. I tell my son the same thing. He's like, you have like a personality, which most, and again, not to sort of stereotype engineers, but a lot of engineers are very like technical in the weeds, and they can't sort of like have those, conversations with people. And he's like, you have separated yourself from the other 5 interns that you have here, in a sense, where you're very personable. Like you could just kind of come in and talk to people. And he said, I think you'll do very well in a sales, like a technical sales, not just like a used car, like go sell cars. He's like in like a technical sales. So you use your engineering sort of background or degree, and then go sell stuff. And that's when he was like, you could sell telecommunications equipment to us. He's like, I can personally call this guy who's making like a lot of money selling, at the time it was like mini Rams and DSL type stuff. And so that was kind of that whole conversation.
The lollipop
moment, right? And so
how many slicks did it take to get to the center?
That wasn't about the licks, man, because if you actually read that or listen to that TED talk, it's about this guy. Anyway, this girl.
Let's go into this one.
The TED talk.
Yeah, let's I'm here to learn, dog.
Man, it's been a while since I've heard about it. I just remember the word. But so basically, this guy is handing out. It's this girl who's standing in line, like at a college, and she's like trying to with her parents and get in. And this guy's like going down the line, like I think maybe he was dressed up, just kind of looking like a fool, but he was like selling lollipops to people in line for like $1 or $2. And somehow he and this chick met. Again, it's been a while, so I forget, like there's a sort of a punchline and a funny part to the whole story, but ends up like those two, like I think get married and like, or something like that. It's something crazy like that. But like, that was kind of it. It was just like
the moment,
their lollipop moment or whatever. That's kind of how it came to be.
Okay.
So Garrett, maybe you can find that for us and fill us in on the full story.
And Garrett, hit that intro, bro.
Yeah. Got deep for you guys real quick.
Josh Caillavet, ladies. We'd like to thank our sponsors for this show. Gulf South Productions, Daniel Zada and the team for all events, concerts. They throw the big events. They do it right. Check out Gulf South Productions. Golden Gulf Insurance Services, property, casualty, home, auto. We got you. 228-207-0298. Match Spy Appointment Gautier. 228-623-7230. 50 to 8% off.
Fish and beer is the greatest thing, dear. Sometimes I think about her in her lovely dress. She said she want crawfish and beer. Took her down the street. Come on down, let's have ourselves a real good time. So crawfish and beer.
Was it?
That was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we just got in real deep real quick.
I was gonna say, y'all jumped right in, huh?
I mean, that's how we do it now. We've made up our mind that we're putting tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is the last time. Actually, we're not even going to do it tonight. We're done with the welcome. It's just we're diving right in.
Yes,
so we're here.
Clearly,
now. Yeah,
obviously.
We took a poll and we agreed on it.
Love you, bud.
Yeah. So anyway,
2023.
Thanks for coming.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's been long overdue.
JoJo's been on me for a while.
You've been in the studio a couple times before.
Yeah,
I've enjoyed those nights.
We've done some collabs on the cartoon. Popped in on the spinner.
You're one of my favorite
spinner interviews.
Gamer buddies.
and
I never forget the first time we got a dub and this voice reached that like next octave
level. Yeah. That's a family thing. I think my dad does it. I think maybe Caden does it. I don't know.
When's the last time that MC got that excited?
All the time. Like his voice literally every time, whatever it is, whether it's anger or happy or whatever, it's like immediately goes up an octave. Yeah. So
I'm the same way and I get excited.
But that dub, I think, we were definitely excited. I remember I was still playing upstairs in Caden's bedroom on like a little TV, guys, sitting on the edge of his bed.
If you're not, this is called Fortnite.
Fortnite. And I think I took a picture and posted it. I think it's still on my Instagram. Like 5 likes.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, it was special.
It was definitely. And I mean, heck, I'd have to look back and look at the date. That was some time ago, but yeah, it's cool. It's I mean, you always talk about mental health, right? And it's just like a release
I play on Wednesdays. That's my go-to. You can find me on there on Wednesday nights.
And you got to have that kind of play. Like, so I think gaming was always fun because now you can, you have a conversation, you're able to hang out with your friends, and you don't have to be.
I don't even care about the game.
Right.
Yeah, the game.
Sometimes we get serious with
It's
the dogs,
like,
right? But
honestly, it's like, being out with friends and, with work schedules and everything, we all get together and we get on, I guess for the older folks, it's like can with strings.
yeah.
And then for the newer folks, it's headsets where you communicate. You're in a party with your friends and they're all at their home with their families.
Joe says, "Where we dropping, boys?" Red leader standing by.
What is it? What's the new drop? The new greasy?
What is it? I forgot.
Oh, shit.
Faulty something.
Yeah, faulty. That's it. Faulty.
But no, I mean, I think the gaming part of that's like Matt said, like it's really not about the win. It's about
yeah,
having a
Camaraderie.
conversation with your buddies.
yeah. I mean, look, like we could all very easily go out to a bar on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and drink beer. Right, like probably they did back in the day. Whereas we're just sitting in the comfort of our homes, hanging out with our homeboys. Now we don't have that face-to-face interaction, but we're still talking.
I know what Shaw's look like.
Yeah, cutting up. Like, how was your day? How was your week? Like, you're not gonna believe what this person did.
$1 million deals.
Yeah, just whatever, right? Like, but it's kind of like you said, it's funny because when you talk to people who don't play, I find myself explaining it to them, right? Like, I got away from it.
You just got to try it.
Yeah, I played in college. I got away. And then again, back to Caden, whenever he was growing up, and I think I bought him a PS4 and then got him a PS5. And it was like at that point in time, it was a way for he and I to kind of like connect, right? And so that's when I got back into it. And then I think, you were probably right around that time, Brooks, and then we've got our like little clique now that we play with. So yeah,
that's
slid
Death Eaters.
I slid in.
Death Eaters.
It's
grown. It's grown, right?
Grown.
It's not
The group
small.
catches.
I came from back. So this is where I started at. Was me and Ryan Bowden had a apartment at the Reserves, St. Martin, and DJ left his Xbox over there and had online the OG Xbox.
Oh wow,
it was online. He left it over. He just didn't like playing the game. It was Ghost Recon. It was like me, Ryan, Crow.
Yeah.
There's a group of us, and there's one console, and then we experienced live with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And
I remember the first time that I think it was Halo for me in the dorms in college, and it was just like the next wave of you're playing by yourself, but whenever. I mean, we would had the headsets on, but we'd link up to where there'd be like 16 of us, 17 of us in the lobby.
Right.
And we'd be like leaning down the halls and dorms, like yelling at one another, and like playing back and forth. And it changed the whole level.
Expanded landline
for
style.
sure.
Like, the multiplayer, you had your own console.
Yeah. And
it really got addictive. And I remember there's times where like DJ's dad, we would throw parties on Glendale and it would be like me, DJ, Chase Voorhees, Crow, we'd all be at DJ's house playing on the internet during a house party.
What?
Yeah, we would throw
What were y'all playing?
Ghost Recon.
What is this? Ghost Recon Call of Duty?
Yeah, it's Call of Duty.
It's before Call of Duty. It's like it's the same thing. It's shooter based, but we'd all be like, and then we're not playing on like HDTVs. We're playing on tubes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was just everybody would be like, hey, you know what? There was like people out there partying, and we'd all be set up on TVs. That kind of started.
Well, that was kind of the thing. Like, I mean, again, I used to play. I think in college it was Grand Theft Auto and obviously Madden.
Did you play Above You?
I don't remember. It literally, I haven't played Grand Theft Auto since college. And then again, Caden was really the one with the PS4, PS5 that got me to playing online because part of me was like, who are you playing with? Like, what are y'all talking about? So as I said, I kind of like was sitting in to one, hang with him. We played 2v2. And then two, to kind of be like, well, who else is on your squad? And like sometimes it's kids from his school and sometimes it's kids from who knows where.
Across the world.
Yeah, or dudes. And I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
So like a part of me was just, again, being a parent, trying to sort of figure out that. But then, like you said, I was like, hey, I like this. Because I think the last sort of like game that wasn't online that I played was Far Cry. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Where it was like on the island, you're running around and it was like it had a storyline to it. So, but then once I kind of started playing with him on Fortnite and then I graduated to Call of Duty, he's trying to get me to Apex. I'm like, bro, I don't need any more games. Like you're getting enough games out.
So we got the headsets, right?
Yeah.
The VR. What is that called? I can't remember now.
Oculus.
Yeah, we got Oculus. So I've downloaded a couple games for that. And And I find it very hard for myself to try to get into them because I'm the same way. I'm like, I don't need another Vice.
Right.
Like, but I did download the per Garrett and his brother's recommendation, the NFL quarterback challenge with Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
It's dope. Right. You got to read passes. You got to make sure that the people are open. You can get sacked. You can rush. And you can pick any team and go. So I've actually played like 3 games throughout a season. So, and I've had it for 4 months. So I don't play it. Yeah.
So you don't play it a lot?
No, not at all.
Well, I think the bad thing about VR, like I love VR, and we've actually got into the metaverse where you create worlds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think you jumped in a few times.
Yeah, I got in there. I think I had the Oculus at either Brooks's house or somewhere, and I hopped in there with you all. Yeah, I checked it out.
So I think the bad thing about VR though is a minute is an hour.
Yeah, it's
like it goes so fast. So like if you're building something, you're creating something, you look down. If let's say it's 8 o'clock, then it's 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and it really it's such a world where there's people that.
I feel like anything that I'm in the zone with goes by like that.
But if you do it in VR though, I mean, there's people that's like 20 hours in the VR.
Wow.
And they live in the VR. They sleep in the VR. There's people, there's actually like a fetish where people actually sleep in the VR. That's where you kind of have
the camera on the whole time.
They just leave it on their head. They just keep plugged in and they go to sleep.
What's the name of that fetish, Garrett?
Garrett, pull up VR
fetish.
24-hour fetish. All right, we got some comments here. Preston, AirPod Gang.
What's up, Loud?
Kiowa, Caillavet, my dog.
Yeah.
Cassius, Culpepper says, Daddy. Well, thank you for that crawfish beer theme song. I don't know if I'm your dad, though. Matt might be.
Yeah.
Nick Stram, shout out to Lamy Electric.
Yeah.
We will plug you.
Yeah.
Josh
killing all them dogs.
Was my EE mentor at State.
Who said that?
Nick Stram.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on the podcast.
What's EE?
Electrical engineer.
Okay, electrical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good old days.
Oh, for sure, man. We had some good times up at State. State's not as bad as I think people, kind of make it sound like down here. I mean, I think
before we get into State though, we got to go into Ivan.
Okay,
my boys love Josh. They said he's like the modern day Hugh Hefner on the coast.
Stop! Oh my God.
Okay, are you treated?
Do
okay.
what?
I'm just kidding.
You have a robe.
Yeah.
And then Joe says we drop. Doug actually has a new gym coming on Seaway, which he's coming on the show.
All right.
Doug Sellers. Yeah.
Yeah.
He thinks you're out of town. He thought you moved. I seen you at the gym.
What up, Diggs? Hasn't seen, but Doug is dropping shit. He will be on.
Good.
I wonder how big that gym is. The new one.
I'd love to see it, man.
Why do they call you Juicy?
Wow. Oh my gosh. Just going.
Why did they call you Juicy?
Y'all really want to know?
Yeah.
This is a funny story because there's probably so many like urban legends about the nickname, but it's really not like it's not anything crazy. So Doug knows Doug knows a guy. I've known Doug for years. I think when he was still living in Atlanta. So we had a mutual friend, a guy, Dustin Gates, God rest his soul. He was a funny guy. Actually went out to Vegas and was like doing stand up at one point in time. But unfortunately, like a lot of people down here on the coast, get caught up in some things and, got a bad habit and ended up passing away. But, at one point in time, he and I were sitting at the Beau Rivage one night, like a Wednesday or Tuesday, just like a random middle of the week night. And we were playing video poker and, I was playing mine, he was playing his and he like, something happened, lost some money, right? And he was like, "Oh, this game sucks, blah blah blah." And I'm over here winning, and I started singing that Justin Timberlake song, "Cry Me a River," right? Cry Me a River. And he was like, "Oh, look at you, a regular Juicy J over here," because Juicy J was also a popular rapper at the time, So he was throwing them right back at me. And then my buddy Lynn, they call him Pooh, he's an Asian guy. He starts dying laughing. And so Dustin starts kind of going in even harder on the whole Juicy J thing. And I'm just like cracking up. So like all night long, like I said, it was like a Wednesday night. He kept calling me Juicy J. Well, then fast forward like a couple years later, he opened up a bar in downtown Ocean Springs before like downtown Ocean Springs was what it was. It was called the Mai Tai. And it was actually on Porter. I think it was Val's.
Yeah, I know what's that. Yeah, going with the big deck.
So before Val's, it was
now
called
it's
the
like
Mai Tai.
Lazy Oaks.
And so I think it was like right around Katrina, before Katrina, after Katrina. I can't really remember the time frame. Yeah, actually it was before Katrina because it was before I moved out to Los Angeles. And he was like, I just graduated from state. He was like, hey man, you know everybody, you're always on about. He's like, come bartend. I was like, dude, I don't know anything about bartending. And
did the camera burn out?
No, we lost
we
it.
still got audio.
Yeah, we still got audio.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
So anyway, he was like, come bartend. I was like, dude, I don't know anything about bartending. Like, I'll tell you how to make it. He's like, but it's, bourbon and Coke, vodka and water, vodka and Sprite.
Not hard.
Like, he's like, it's not hard. He said, the shots, I'll make the shots.
I remember bartending. I thought the same thing. I was like, it's going to be so hard. I don't know how to make all these drinks. And then what I realized
So we had this bar for like, I don't know, 6 months. That was just like insane. Like no holds barred, like just come in and do whatever. Like it was wild. And I was the bartender and people, would come in there and everybody knew me as Josh, but he would always be like, hey, Juicy, give him the special shots or do this. And he kept calling me Juicy. So then like people who didn't know who I was were like, Juicy, Juicy, Juicy. So that's how like the Juicy J thing kind of like started. Well, then I moved to New Orleans and like it had kind of like died off. Well, he came and visited me in New Orleans and he still called me Juicy, right? And all my friends in New Orleans like, who is Juicy? Like, who does he keep calling Juicy? And so now it's like all my New Orleans friends, they all call me Juicy. So
do you think you're juicy?
What is that supposed? I don't know.
It's a yes or no question.
But am I
if you think about it,
am I a good singer?
But if you think about it,
absolutely not.
But if you think about it, but think about this, you are Juicy J.
I mean, hey, look, you could have a worse nickname, right? Like it's not a terrible nickname.
My nickname's JoJo.
Yeah. What's Brooks? What's yours?
I think it's Brooks. I don't have a really nickname. I haven't earned one yet. You got to earn a nickname. You don't just. You can't you can't make your own nickname up. Yeah, and I've done a pretty good job of staying squeaky clean. We're losing that camera over and over.
Is this still recording?
Something's going on with it.
So here's a funny one. Like
it's probably the recording. Like turn off the recorder. It's probably burning the camera in pieces.
Yeah, you can keep.
Not many people know this one, but like Colin being the comedian that he is.
Oh, he is a comedian indeed.
So again, once Caden was born, people would call me Juicy, and he was like more like Juice Box. You know what I'm saying? So he started calling me Juice Box. So
Juice Box. I like it. I call you Squeaks.
That's why, like, if you look at my Snapchat, it's like Juice Box 1.
I call you the chess player.
Squeaks
because he squeaks by in fantasy football. They kept playing for this. So this is Josh's first year in fantasy football.
Yeah,
and
sure. I didn't do bad.
I was coaching him the whole way.
I probably had Matt not dropped an L at the end, I would have probably got second. But
I won the league. Okay.
Yeah.
First place.
I heard y'all split.
I did split. Just to move on, but no, on paper it's a dub. So, just the money got split.
Squeaky.
Yeah, Squeaks.
He calls me Squeaks every week
because he would win by like 0.2, 0.3. Squeak on by.
Squeak another win, but hey, a win's a win and a loss is a loss, right?
How much money are we talking here?
Like $50 for the whole season.
Yeah, it wasn't
12 people, so $600.
Yeah.
It was fun though, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. I'll admit.
You will play again, right?
Yeah, I'll play again because it definitely kept me more in tune to the season and who's winning and who's losing and more just like engaged. Whereas normally, if the Saints lost, I'm miserable until the next week, right?
Yeah.
And this year, Saints didn't do great. Mississippi State was doing okay, but like whatever. Like if you had a weekend where State and Saints lost, it was just like you're ready to just like end it, you know? So
I wonder what's going on with that thing.
I don't know.
Probably Juicy's too juicy for it.
There's no juice in the camera.
I mean, we're still there, guys. We're still in your sound. We're just trying to figure out this camera.
Yeah. We can jump to a different one if we maybe need to.
Garrett, is it on or off?
So welcome back.
Hey.
Okay. So yeah. What else?
Man, not a lot.
Did cut off again.
We're gonna have to jump cameras or something.
Recording off. It is. All right, guys. We're gonna still be here, and we're gonna change out one camera. Just take that one right there, Garrett, and we'll slide it over this one right here, I guess.
If you want to try it, yeah. We're just gonna keep entertaining the good people and ask Josh random questions.
Just imagine I'm wearing, like, honestly, right now I'm wearing no clothes.
We're here with the Beatmaster Squeaks Juicy.
Okay.
What was your name in the cartoon? It's Chaz.
Chaz.
So this Chaz, I loved whenever we were like what do you want to be? And you're like, I want to be like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt,
Definitely not Tom Cruise,
but cooler.
It was, we were like coming up with our cartoons for the cartoon, and like what, you obviously people have seen y'all's Belvedere, right?
Yeah.
And like y'all's cartoons, so it's very like the first thing that kind of came to my mind was Troy, the movie Troy with Brad Pitt, which is a great movie.
Obviously, they'll look just alike.
So that's kind of where my head went. I was like, well, that's kind of what I want my
with
kids
long
to
hair
look like.
And girls, more girls.
Stop, it wasn't like that. But yeah.
Can we hear your cartoon? Can we hear your Chaz voice?
I think that was the thing. Like I never could really come up with like a Chaz voice.
Let's see it. Let's hear it. Let's give it a try. Give it a try.
I don't know. Like that was the thing. Like I couldn't. Y'all were like putting me on the spot then, and I was just like,
did you ever figure out your voice?
Yeah. Let's hear yours. Mine's never changed. I am Toro.
Yeah, y'all had. Yeah.
I'm Scar.
Yeah, that sounds like this. You're like the Screech voice from Saved by the Bell.
I'm Scar.
You're gonna be like, I'm Chad.
Should I be like,
yeah?
But be like,
hey,
it's like,
hey,
the guy that barely says anything. Scar here.
Yeah.
Yours was a lot more dark or raspy than that at first.
So where
I'm Scar.
Are we still? Is it still in development?
Yeah, it's definitely in production.
I'm gonna have a couple of cameos, perhaps.
Yeah, you bust in. There's a lot of people that are going to be busting in, and I think that's one of the fun part about it is, I mean, every time we mess with it, we progress like 100% more than we were the last night. But it's evolving.
And I'll tell you right now, the big thing right now is Golden Gulf, like insurance. Right?
Yeah,
solid.
No, that's
absolutely.
I mean, I'll tell you right now, like that kind of like pushes.
We're on the map.
I love it.
That pushes like the podcast. We started this 3 years ago, and it's been
your episode 170.
Yeah, and it's a commitment, but it's like once we just launched Golden Gulf, it's really, I mean, the cartoon's going to develop as,
and we're trying to keep it kind of like catchy and hip with the times.
Sure.
So like we're giving some good. Run with it.
I mean, you and I had countless Cajuns lunches and discussed it, right? And how many
how
times
good is Cajuns?
It's amazing. But how many times was I pushing you to be like, dude, what are you waiting on? Like, just do it. Like, go.
Me and Garrett were talking about it one night, and it was just like a overthinking it.
Yeah,
that's
and now you've done it, and you're like, what did it take so long, right? So hats off to you, man. Great job, and I love the fact that you guys are getting it done. I mean, that's good. I love
Your
it.
building. We'll be in it next week.
Yeah.
Howard Avenue.
We're going to have a Mardi Gras.
We're going to have a Mardi Gras bash.
Is that when we're going to have like the
house? Hang out.
It's on 21st.
House?
I don't know. I'm probably going to do a ribbon cutting too at some point.
Yeah, you should get the whole. I mean, you're in the chamber, so
I don't know if you can cut your own ribbon.
I think the ribbon cutting is going to be at the Mardi Gras.
No, that'll be maybe an official one, the unofficial one.
We'll
do I'm excited about that.
Some of that deer meat. I mean, you've killed like 18 deer. No, I don't know.
Not quite that many.
19, I think.
I do got some jerky meat coming.
Yeah, so we'll definitely have some stuff to grill, right?
Yeah, we do have that.
Do you know Wallace is going to get a bounce house?
Oh, I didn't know that. He's our suite mate.
Okay.
He's got the unit next to us.
Nice.
Argus Builds. He's a contractor.
Wallace Goodman.
Shout out. We will plug him.
Well, but he's
a Mississippi State guy.
Okay.
So today he's like, yeah, see that little lot over there? Putting a bounce house there. Like,
pre-planned. So we're gonna make everyone sign waivers at the door.
Should we have a face painter?
Yes. For the kids.
Absolutely.
For us.
Or for you.
Anybody.
Yeah.
You.
Get some of those wrestling buddies y'all have over there too.
That would be pretty dope.
Mac Daddy Duds.
Yeah, he'd probably come.
I'll tell you what, Neptune should have Mac Daddy Duds as their marshal.
The Grand Marshal?
Yeah.
That'd be a good one.
So let's talk about that. Y'all going to the Coliseum this year?
Man, it's going to be a big year. We've been working on the skit, and Mon 5's here to make a solid statement. No, I don't know.
This year?
No, absolutely not. It's funny though, because I was just talking to Madison, and we're talking ideas, and the idea that we were coming up with was the exact same idea that they were coming up with.
Yeah.
Are you talking about Madison?
Intentionally.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Josh's cousin. They're fam. They're blood.
You're like the Durons. You're right to everything.
Well, we're not blood, but it's like more or less, I would say, by marriage. But I've known Madison. I call him a kid. He's definitely not a kid. He's a grown man now. But
he's married.
I've known
got
him
2
since
kids
he
himself.
was a kid. He's got 2 kids, as a matter of fact. But yeah, I've known him for a while.
Shout out, Maddie. But no, Neptune's going to be great, dude. We're positioning ourselves to be able to sell more tickets to the public and get bigger, bigger music.
So
we want good artists.
Are y'all going to eventually try to do like the Endymion thing where y'all ride the parade into the
Coliseum? Can you explain that to me?
Oh man, one of the wildest times I've ever had in my life, and I've had one or two, but that was definitely one of them. So I was not a part of Endymion, but as you know, I lived in New Orleans for 8 years, and one of my buddies who lived in Dallas at the time was a member of Endymion, and so as well as some of my other friends. And so if you're not gonna ride, you can have like an absentee rider. So he was in Dallas, not going to be able to make it because he was actually working for the Cowboys opening Texas Stadium. And so I got to take his ticket, paid $300. And I think the beads were like $5 or $8,000. Like it was a lot, right? Like the float. So if this is like the rail of the side of the float, so you don't like fall over, the beads were literally up to the very top. And you're sitting like almost
on the
like
beads,
this, on the beads, just throwing them in the beginning of the parade. Like it was so wild. And so back up at 8:00 in the morning, you have to like get up maybe earlier and go to the Superdome. That's where you meet. And so they give you your costume there, kind of like Neptune does. And then you got to cut out your mask because you have to have a mask. If you don't wear your mask over there, it's serious. Like they'll stop the float, they'll pull you off. Like it's a whole big deal. They give you like a lunch. And then you take from there and you kind of got, you kind of got to catch an Uber or a ride all the way through the city, uptown, like Orleans, where the parade actually starts. And then it doesn't start until like 2 or 3, right? By the way, this is the longest parade in the world.
What's the hours? Like how long?
So I'll get to that. So this is like the longest parade in the world. They invented the triple float. Like they're 3 high, 3 long. Like it's like a train. Like each float is like connected.
How many members?
A lot.
1,000?
A lot. Like I forget.
Garrett, can you pull this shit up?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Garrett, get some facts on Endymion. But so here's the deal. It starts at like 2 or 3 uptown on Orleans, snakes all the way through the city, goes down like I can't remember Napoleon, and then ends up going down St. Charles, and then comes all the way down Canal, and then goes back down like around Lee Circle, and then wiggles. You get to the Superdome at like, I want to say 10 or 11 o'clock at night, depending on what time. And mind you, you start drinking at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Right? It's a long day. And so you're just going. And then, like I said, but the cool part is like, never seen anything like it. Like there's just people as far as you could see on how many?
8,000 members.
8,000 members.
Holy
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
$8 billion.
Okay.
3,200 million.
So you get to the Superdome, and it's like the wildest experience. It's probably the closest you'll ever feel to being on the field as a Saint, right? Like you come in, and the governor's there, the mayor's there, like congressmen are there, Leonard Skinner or Kid Rock or Maroon 5.
That's what we want.
Or whoever is playing the band that year, you come rolling in there. And like I said, the Superdome holds 80,000 people. There's obviously, you're not in the stands. It's like everybody's on the field, like everybody's on the floor, but they have barricades snaked through the dome to where it comes in and like the parade does this whole thing. So it like, 20, 30, 50,000 people on the floor of the Superdome, and then all the people, and it's like a huge concert. I mean, everybody's in full gowns
That's the actual ball.
Yes. Yeah. But the parade turns into the ball. And so the only people that are in the Superdome that aren't in a black tie and an evening gown are the riders on the float. So you hop off and like, you're a mess, dude. Like you've been out there sweating all day, drinking, throwing beer, like, whatever.
I think that's what we want. It's just a matter of keeping it safe and making sure that the all day thing doesn't kill anybody, which because there's people who can't really control their intake sometimes out there.
Yeah. And right now the Biloxi parade doesn't really go down the beach that direction.
And that's another thing. Yeah. We'd have to change the whole route.
Hold on. You're going to an event to wear a costume, to throw beads off a float to people. And you're going to have fun.
Oh yeah.
You're wearing masks. You're in this level. I mean, especially if it's your first time, like you're on a open float throwing, I'd say merch or beads, but just things at people. There's people that are assholes that throw like aim and just hurt people. There's people that throw
things back at the floats.
Yeah.
There's people that just order.
People have been run over by floats.
Yeah, that happened in Endymion last year.
People throw fire extinguishers. Things happen in life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got
there's always bad actors, right?
So you have to be careful. Like it's still, but at the same time, it's a celebration.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 4th of July fireworks. Beep, boop, boop, boop.
So one of my goals within Mardi Gras is, I wasn't raised doing Mardi Gras like you were. Your mom was in Southern. She's original Southernette.
You go down D'Iberville, Lemoyne.
That was the first parade I ever went to. But one of my goals is to be able to push it north and have Southern Miss, Mississippi State, Ole Miss. I want them all to get off for Mardi Gras or to at least celebrate it. I feel like to grow it would be something to leave a staple here in the community.
It'd be tough, man.
Yes, it's definitely
a different world when you go north of I-10. And that, going back to my days at Mississippi State, like that was probably the toughest thing for me to realize. Like, again, we're talking about how I went to state. Like my first time going to state, stepping foot on Mississippi State's campus, my mom and dad like drove me up there with like my furniture and moved me in. I think I was like the first, and then I met like my random apartment roommate that was assigned to me, and then they were like, "All right, see ya at Thanksgiving or whatever," and I was just like, "Wow!" It was just different, man, and it's just a different way of life. I lived in Jackson for a little bit after that, and like I don't know, man, North Mississippi and South Mississippi, there's different cultures.
So let's go back to South Mississippi though. We both grew up in Southernets. My mom was, I think my mom might have been a maid or a queen. I think my mom was queen. My dad was a king, but Miss Judy, I went to Tylertown daycare. Shout out to Miss Judy. Charmaine is my aunt.
Yep.
Iris is my aunt too. So it's like we grew up at the D'Iberville Moose Civic Center.
Community Center.
Community Center, right by Scarlet Pearl. Like that was one of the first spots for me growing up was in that area.
Southern Nets is huge now.
It's big.
When we're growing up, though, they wasn't that massive.
It's grown.
I mean, it's really
and you got to be like OG to be in a real Southern Net. You can be a member and not be a Southern Net. I didn't know that.
So to put this in perspective, I don't know how many people know this, but like Southern Nets and LaBelle Film used to be the same group, and then they like
separate.
Yeah, some whatever happened, and then they broke up. So
and they're both huge.
They're both monsters. So think about if they were still together, it might very well be the biggest one on the coast.
So Aunt Iris, like she has LaBelle Film.
Yep.
Correct. And your mom, Charmaine,
they're all still in Southern Nets. That's correct. Yeah. So it's basically.
I think I've been to both every year for the past 10 years or however long.
It's a lot.
But I will say I did grow up in that kind of feel, which was like crazy. Like,
were you ever a page or were you?
No. Oh, well, no, not like in Gulf Coast or anything like that.
No, but or whatever. I
was a Duke. I've been a Duke in Southern Nets once, and I've been a Duke in Athena, and that's.
But nothing as a kid.
No, my Caden was a.
But I think in the '90s though,
was queen.
I think in the '90s though, it wasn't so like, it was Mardi Gras was still growing for people, so it wasn't as like now we're at the Coliseum or have all this stuff. Like I'm telling you, like we grew up where like our parents got together and they had a community center. And they threw a party.
Yeah, St. Martin community.
It was big when I was a kid. And Katrina really actually kind of like, it's so crazy. You always hear people talk about how, no, actually, I don't know if it's bigger or smaller, but like it definitely changed it. Like when I was growing up, I mean, Mardi Gras was like an all day thing. And they had a morning, noon, and night parade.
My Uncle Jay had the Greyhound bus station. Yeah. It was all day event on Tuesday.
And the night parade got like a little dicey. It was probably like the Neptune parade to an extent. Like my mom would always be like, go have fun, but be back by the night parade. Like she didn't want us down on Howard Boulevard.
But wasn't the night parade, wasn't that Neptune? Wasn't they all together once?
Neptune was, so Gulf Coast was the morning and the afternoon. They had two parades. And then Neptune had the middle, the noon. It was like at 2:00. So it was 3 parades. And now, ever since Katrina, like whenever they finally brought it back, they were just like one big parade. So instead of having like 3 parades with like 30 floats or 50 floats and 150 floats altogether, they just do 150 float parade. And you're just like, oh my gosh, it's like the longest parade ever.
Yeah, I do. I'm with you on that because I do miss like going to, was it Mikey Jenner's dad's spot?
Yeah.
That little, was it Mikey Jenner?
Everybody had a spot. You had the old medical center down there on the beach. And then like,
I got my first underage drinking ticket there.
Everybody got it.
And then it was Emily Lukens.
Yeah.
Which is Sean's wife. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So her mom actually, when I got that underage drinking ticket, her mom went to court with me. And it's either I had to go do community service or pay a fine. And at the time I was making money, so I paid the fine.
Yeah.
But I remember like undercover,
How did this go down?
I was right by my uncle's in the back of a truck with Ryan Bowden. I think it was a Crow, it was a bunch of us, and they had these guys that were like wearing horrible. Now look back of it, horrible like fake attire. They were like basketball jerseys. They're trying to fit in.
Oh God,
like an episode of Cops.
Well, now
so funny.
So now modern day, like we call them out now narcs.
Yeah,
they were just narcs. Now I see them. Now I'm like when they come around me, I'm like, oh. Even in my 30s, I'm like. They're like, oh, they're narcs. You know what I mean? There's so many narcs around us, but that was like, because everybody's like, how'd you know about narcs? I'm like, because I figured it out when these guys were really nice and I was nice to them. And they're like, where's your ID at? I'm like, dude, fuck you, Explorer. You know? And so it happened. Yeah, it was $400. Got out of it.
Ouch.
I honestly had that and 2 speeding tickets. So
yeah, I got one time. I don't think it was at Mardi Gras though. I got one, but yeah. Leonard Bentz actually gave it to me.
Really?
Yeah. But we literally laugh about it today. Like all
we were all young and dumb. I mean, it's never.
Have you got an underage drinking ticket before?
No, man. Actually, I got in trouble, but I don't think I got like charged.
The guy that got me.
I look like I was this age the whole time I was underage too.
Sure.
I
did. But the guy that got me, I remember this like yesterday. He was wearing a basketball jersey, and it was digital camo looking. Yeah, I should have known.
Do you remember whose jersey it was?
No.
It's like Carmelo.
Who knows? He just flashed his badge. He's like, look at me.
Dude, yeah. If you were going to bust somebody, how would you do it? And what would you dress as?
I would
just not do it, right?
I won't do it. Because that choose.
Wake up and not choose violence.
I don't want to waste my I don't want to, like, in that realm, I can see safety is a thing, but I just,
I get it.
I always just see about like nosy people who are just too nosy to get into somebody else's business to affect it or alter it. Like I'm more of like, hey man, just march to the beat of your own drum or try to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Then you get into politics, you'll figure that shit out eventually. It's a ladder, but I don't know. I mean, I think for me, I was kind of honestly nervous. I was nervous because I got hit and I'm like, oh, because I was underage.
How many people do you think they got that day? I mean, probably
100. Make a living off of Mardi Gras for sure.
Yeah.
It's
bring in extra forces from outside. Some sort
of budget for sure. The cleanup crew or something's getting funded from that because everybody gets them on Mardi Gras. I know people. A friend of mine's daughter got one last Mardi Gras down. We were at the office, and I just met him down there, and I was like, where's your daughter? And she's like, oh, she just got a ticket for underage drinking, and I was like, well. Not 21.
Put it in the cup.
Yeah. So they're still doing it. Yeah.
You ain't gonna stop people from doing it. No, I mean it's just tale as old as time there.
It used back in the day, it was like legal at 8. I remember growing up, like it was still legal in New Orleans. I mean, I never went over there, but all my friends, like my brother's friends, would all go over there.
You gotta be 18.
I was 18. I was like, dude.
I remember one time we got in trouble at Mardi Gras. I didn't get in trouble like per se, but we had a keg right there where the car wash is in D'Iberville, right at the corner of Lemoyne and what is that, Daisy Vestry?
Yeah.
And where it used to be wooded next to that snowball stand. And we had a keg that was probably 30, 40 feet into the wood line. And anybody that was there could just like walk in and out and get a keg. And at one point, some guys walked in and the cops were just sitting there waiting on them.
Surprise.
Yeah, hey, what are you doing here? It's yours.
That's cold.
Surprise.
But like kids will be kids, man. They're going to find a way to get away.
Yeah, for sure.
So you ain't going to stop it.
I mean, that was like the biggest thing about St. Martin I love is they got your spot for like a weekend. We kept adapting.
Yeah, we had 30 spots.
Yeah, you had to move.
Yeah.
You always had to
stick and move.
Go somewhere else.
Never let them know your next move.
What was the spot called right behind the school?
The Blue Hole?
Diesel's what we
Diesel Road.
Yeah.
Diesel Road. That's what it was.
So
I was at, because I ran cross country, and so we'd be like, hey, you got to run the Blue Hole. So it was like the Blue Hole or Diesel Road. It was like, if you're going to get in a fight after school, it's like, oh, meet me on Diesel Road.
I wonder if people still do that. It's paved now. I don't know. I'm curious.
No, they all got cameras and shit now.
Yeah. So, I was going to say, it doesn't happen.
I was, when we, on my end of going to school, like there was like, open doors and stuff. Now you're kind of like shut in cameras and stuff.
They didn't have doors on the bathroom stalls whenever we were kids.
Yeah. But now they have
cameras everywhere. In there There's not even a door on the stall. I would get checked out for that business. Like,
dude, let's talk about St. Martin for a second, though. How they're on the come up, man. Lane Kiffin's over there today.
yeah.
What's up with that?
Yeah, Sting.
Can you start show a photo of that?
Definitely changed.
I got to go pee back.
I don't know that any college coach came there while we were there.
No,
maybe Delta State. I'll give them Delta State. It was like we had a pipeline to Delta State or Perk.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys went to Perk.
Definitely not like Mississippi State or Ole Miss.
No, I think that's good for them. I mean, they're obviously
shocked.
They're growing. They're 6A now. They got a new school.
Yeah,
it's way bigger and better than anything you and I have ever seen.
Yeah.
It was always like that for me. Even growing up, like the little league fields at St. Martin. Like as soon as we would finish, they'd build a new field.
Yeah.
And then like football, I remember the same thing. Like as soon as I finished, they built a new, football facility.
Yeah.
So I always feel like I missed out on that, but that's probably everyone feels that way to an extent.
Sure.
I would think.
Hey, you always got to be growing, right? This is the same with business, personal development, self-development, things like that. Just like always
never be comfortable.
Grow. Don't just like be stagnant. I mean, so yeah, if that's what the school's doing, then good for them.
And if they got Lane Kiffin there, then they're doing something right. I know that I saw on what is it? Not Les Miles. What's the Alabama coach? Can't even think.
Nick Saban.
He was at Ocean Springs.
Really? Well,
and they just got that Ocean Springs kid.
Yeah, I heard they got that top kid.
They even had him on the sidelines at the bowl game or whatever.
That's good, man. I mean, the coach has got talent. So Austin, whatever, I forget. I've watched him, up at State. He was a wide receiver. I don't know if he set a record. I want to say he might have set a record up there, but yeah, I mean, Ocean Springs has produced some talent. I'm sure a lot of the schools from around here have put some.
St. Martin, no, just you and me.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's ramped. I really do think it's ramped up now because of now you can make money in college.
You can make money in high school now.
What's that?
Tom's playing.
Garrett jumps up. You can make money in high school?
I didn't know that. I mean, I know you can in college.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you can. I don't know. And is it in IF deal?
I mean, they it's like who knows?
There's definitely high school kids that are getting.
But it's kind of under the table in high school, though.
Maybe
you can.
I mean, yeah, mom and dad gets like a brand new house for him to go to this university.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know.
Bribe him
I don't know
to
what
go
the
to a
new
private
rules
school.
are, though. I really haven't paid attention.
Or a new position at the job.
Yeah, but it's only gonna help the schools who are there. You go.
Well,
it's only gonna help the schools. That was today. That happened today.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I mean, whether you like Ole Miss or don't like Ole Miss, it's cool to see like the head coach down here at St. Martin.
You love Ole Miss, dude.
I mean, come on,
it's a good school.
I like Ole Miss better than State.
Look,
he was wearing a fins up shirt before he got in.
So we were kind of. That's not true. We were kind of getting into this when we were talking about Caden and where he wants to go to school. So, again, it's always been like Mississippi State. I want to be an engineer. But then like the other day, I mean, and I'm like, hey, I'm in Alabama. Like, let's go visit Auburn.
I remember going to the University of Georgia the first time. I was like, why did I go to Ole Miss and never even think about going to this school?
That's kind of where I'm at. Like, I didn't do any of those things. So like, it's spring's approaching. He's a junior. I want to take him. And I was like, let's plan a day and go to State, and then we'll go to Ole Miss. Because he's like, well, a lot of my friends from school are going to Ole Miss. But on that note, I'm like, do you want to go to a college like where half the kids already and like just
or
basically
go
like
write your own
grade, or go like somewhere where you don't know anyone and like get a whole new perspective? Because again, college is like, it's two educations. One, it's what you learn in class, but two, it's like what you learn outside of class, which is like
survival skills,
getting up, taking out the trash, paying your rent, paying your power bill, paying like your just bills in general, like doing your homework, going grocery shopping, like the game of life, right? So you're learning kind of like both of those. And so, I mean, I see people that I work with, I mean, their kids like go to like a West Coast school or a Northeast school, and they're taking like vacations to Europe every summer.
What's your stance on? So for me, like I went to Full Sail, but I started learning more about like graphic design through online classes. Mm-hmm. Just like, you could buy an online class for like $15.
Yeah.
And now you just need a certification. Like you don't need it. Like, but I'm saying like, what's your thoughts on like you can have a marketing degree, but most people that have marketing degrees don't really know it, like the softwares to operate it. It's more of a marketing standpoint because it's a degree, but like I'm saying like the actual softwares like that you create things with. Like,
well, I mean, I think like COVID taught us anything, it taught us how to like be remote and do our jobs and to learn and things like that. So now more than ever, like the online classes, the online universities and things like that, I think they're great. They're probably enhanced. I mean, heck, the high schools were doing it around here for a while. So, I mean, yeah, hats off to it. I have a lot of friends who, whether they went to a real university for their undergrad and then their masters they got, whether it's the Phoenix University of Phoenix or some of these like online places. I mean, they're great. I have several friends that went to Full Sail. But I mean, yeah, I think it's
But
good.
what would you want for him, like in his experience? Like, would you want the personal experience where you're hanging out with friends?
So that's kind of where I was
or
going with that.
The learning.
That's what I like. Again, going back to that, you're learning two things in college. You're learning what you learn in class, which you could get online, but you're learning that get yourself up.
Meet a stranger.
Go to class. Go do your laundry. Like go grocery shopping. Go cook food. Like that. Like I know
Find a
people
girlfriend
who
with a lot of
that who basically
land.
lived at home with mommy and daddy till they were 30 or 35, and like then you see them in relationships, and you're like,
what the fuck?
They're acting like their girlfriend or their boyfriend is mommy and daddy, right? And like, come on, man. Like it's a
Would you say college is good for networking where?
Absolutely.
Brad is in your circle.
Yeah.
Well, you have a circle because like the guys you met, like you went to Ole Miss.
Oh, there's no doubt. I mean, it taught me how to perfect my craft now, which is to go in and develop a relationship with somebody.
Yeah,
I mean, and that's
absolutely.
all insurance is
So,
relationships.
It's just like another level, right? So I guess this is the other thing I would say. You go to high school, you got this group of friends. And then if that group of friends goes to Ole Miss or Mississippi State or USM, and then you're just going to be sort of probably for the most part hanging out with that same group of friends. And then you graduate. So you've kind of had the same group of friends. Whereas, quite frankly, I kind of did it unknowingly, like went to St. Martin. And then, although I did have like a handful of like 5 or 6 or 7 people from St. Martin that I knew at Mississippi State, you're kind of forced to meet new people. So that's kind of why I say like going somewhere where the rest of your high school is not going is kind of a good thing, because then you got to go live in a dorm for a year and meet some probably guy.
Stranger.
Yeah. And you don't
got
know.
different life habits.
To your point, then you get to learn that like whole experience and like how to interact with strangers, how to live with, like everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
Like we're all different. So
I know.
That's part of the education.
One of my buddies, Kevin McMahon, his son, I think he's going to go to Colorado. Like Kevin brought him out there to, I think, the Central Colorado UCF first. Is that, I don't remember, something like that. But anyway, it's a directed school that's like for a specific degree.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, to your point, and it's just like if you want to do something, go where they can teach it to you the best.
Think about it like this: like Ole Miss is 5 hours away. Mississippi State's like 3.5, I think now.
Did it change?
Florida State 4 hours. I think Alabama probably 3 or 4 hours. Auburn like 4.5, I think maybe, and then LSU is like 2.5. So like, there's all these universities that you can go to that are well within sort of the same driving distance that you could probably go to and not know anyone and sort of learn some of these things. But
one of my favorite parts about it was having friends everywhere.
One last point I was gonna say, then there's the out-of-state tuition, right? That's obviously going to be a determinant.
You're loaded. You got that. Take care of it.
But go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying I like going anywhere and having friends there. And I've had other friends that were like, how do you know somebody there? And I'm like, oh, I met them in school or I met them, at some point in my life, and they moved to this town. And now I get there and I'm
networking.
You got somebody who's rolling out the red carpet for you.
I didn't go that. I mean, the furthest I went to a university was when I started Janney King. Me and Ryan Bowden, my dad had he just had a franchise where he just shut it off. There was it was a complete shut off. So when me and Ryan, my first experience at college was me and Ryan had this franchise that had, no business, no accounts. We were like going to reopen it. But we had to go to training for like 2 weeks. Yeah. So we ended up saying to our buddy Lee, which Lee was on the show.
Yeah, we talked about it.
And Lee got the tattoo guy.
Do you think that you could have made it with going out every night? And yeah,
because I did it for 2 months. Like we ended up standing there for like a month and a half, 2 months, and I was just like, special sandwich, like so many parties,
party after party, always something to do.
We would go do training and then go back, back at night, and it was always like you go to Pike. This is when Jeff O'Keefe was with the president, or fraternity,
Who knows?
Yeah.
Kappa Sig.
Yeah, Kappa
But I'm
Sig.
saying like you jump to these places where you like everybody had these certain parties and teams
Yeah.
but it's every night.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
I kind of miss it.
It's a lot.
little bit.
And I'll be honest, like in college, as an engineer, you don't get to do all that. Like, unfortunately, you have to. I'll be my first semester up there. Garrett, I think we lost the camera again. My first semester up there, I made like going from junior college and high school, straight A's and B's, and then making like C's and D's the first engineering year. I was like, oh wow.
I screwed up.
Different world. Yeah. Like this is tough. And it was someone basically put it to me. They're like, hey man, you got to treat it like a job, like 8 to 5, like get here, your first class, whether it's at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, like get here. Don't go home after your 10 o'clock class and go back to bed. Right. Like come with us. Like we'll go to the library. We'll just like work on homework for the next class or that day. We'll work on lab reports. We'll go grab lunch. Then we'll go to our afternoon classes. And when I really started treating it like that, that's when I actually became like more successful back like in school, getting my grades back up and things like that.
So Joey Spears says, "What's up, cousin?
Tell him what's up, cuz.
Miss you, my dog."
I don't know. He's talking about somebody from St. Martin. Y'all need to get that guy.
Yeah,
on the
that'd
show.
probably be pretty fun.
He's doing big things. So.
And then we got Brad Patana that says Josh is a guest lecturer on Andrew Tate's Hustlers University. So did you or did you not wake up every morning and read Andrew Tate quotes to motivate you for
Never. I didn't even know who he was until he got arrested. I take that back. I didn't know who he was until Elon Musk added him back to Twitter, and then like a week later he got arrested. So I'm like,
I've never heard
this
of
guy?
him. Never heard of him. Jordan told me who he was.
Dude,
so
he's like a full blown like Tony Robinson of
on steroids.
Really?
Yeah, he's like a motivational.
I've still never watched any.
Well, like he's like a. Yeah, but isn't he like
he just like
mean to girls or women?
I don't know.
Something
misogynistic is the term.
I'm more excited.
Instagram.
So we have Joey Spears though.
Yeah.
Let's dive into Joey Spears working at Circuit City.
We were talking about him the other night playing, weren't we?
Yeah. Circuit City, Joey Spears, Circuit City. Shout out St. Martin Singer.
Yeah.
But to develop his businesses and
hats off to that guy.
Yeah. And honestly, still has a big heart because
huge heart.
I disappeared during cruising the coast in downtown Ocean Springs. You got the phone call. Did you get a phone call?
I was out of town.
Okay, well, you didn't get the phone call. He got phone. Like I just for 8 hours, I went to Knuckleheads. I was at my parents in Porter.
Yeah.
Porter. Like I was on Porter, and my phone died. And when my phone died, it went crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Joey's reaching out and stuff. It's just good to see like Joey's like checking everywhere to try to find me. And I mean,
you're a relic. You're a national treasure. Can't just have you watch now, dude.
I mean, and he probably doesn't go out like 5 nights a week. So when he gets a gay pass, he wants to hang out with his homies and have some fun, right? So like, yeah.
Anyway, shout out to Joey.
Cody Simpson, Juicy J in the house.
There he is. That guy doesn't miss a beat.
No, he's at every event.
Yeah. He's doing the thing too. Well, good.
Yeah, man. Life's been good. Mardi Gras coming up. What balls are you going to?
Man, it's funny. I was talking to somebody about that because I didn't go to Bon Vons last week, and like that and Sirens, like they're just it's New Year's. And
Sirens is dope.
I heard they were great, right?
Where were you at?
I was in New Orleans.
For the Pels game.
No, the Sugar Bowl actually.
Sugar Bowl.
A buddy of mine had some tickets, and so I went, and it was a good time. And then we actually got to go to the Rockin' New Year's Eve, ABC Ryan Seacrest Rockin' New Year's Eve.
Oh, dope. Did you do a stand-in dance
I
set
did like
or what?
a quick cameo with him. It was me and him, and we were just chilling. No, not at all. No, we were there. Like they had the whole stage, and a friend has a condo at the Jack's Brewery. It's old Jack's Brewery that's now like a condo building, and so they had a condo there, and they had like a whole rooftop party looking down at the Ryan. Of course, Ryan's in New York, but they always get like a guest celebrity to do the
and it was you.
No, it was somebody. I don't know who it was, but the stage was like right there. We're looking down at it, and the ball drop, which in New Orleans is actually a fleur-de-lis, is like right there, like literally 10 foot away, and it starts coming down. And I'm like, this is pretty cool. And then you walk 15 feet, and the Mississippi River's right there, and they got all the traffic on the Mississippi River stopped, and they're just blasting fireworks in the Mississippi River. And it was like, it was pretty cool. That was, I lived, like I said, I lived there for 8 years, never went over that direction, although I don't know that they had it there back then, but still spent many a New Year's in New Orleans and never did that.
Yeah, we did it a few times. It was always fun.
It was cool. They have a band.
They always have big concerts that
right
night.
in front of Jack Square. Yeah, exactly. That's where it was. So yeah, it was cool. We did that, and then called it a night.
What do you think about the food versus our food?
New Orleans?
Yeah,
amazing. It's amazing.
There he is.
Everybody.
I got him.
It really is. I'll tell you. I had a guy that I worked with. He moved from Boston. He was a bigger fella. He was like probably 6'5", 6'4", but he was slim. I think he put on like 30 or 40 pounds the first month that he lived there because we were eating like stuffed snowballs and fried everything po' boys. I mean, like they have fried po' boys. I don't know if you ever had one. I think it was like Krabby Jacks.
They fry the bread.
They literally fry the whole thing. Like whatever you're getting in it, they just fry it. And you're just like, a fried po' boy? Like this is a heart attack.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Funnel cake wrapped around.
But that's my point. Like, and everything's covered in gravy and drizzled with something. I mean,
what's your favorite restaurant in New Orleans?
Oh, that's a tough one. But Galatoire's is probably up there.
What's your craziest night in New Orleans?
Oh man, we probably can't talk about that on.
No, I shouldn't talk about that.
I actually cannot. I don't even know. Like I've had so many.
They're all crazy.
Listen, I'll tell you this. There's probably a handful of cities that you would want to spend like your mid-20s to like, late 20s in. New Orleans, Vegas, I don't know, New York maybe. I spent in New Orleans and it was a lot of fun. The Saints won a Super Bowl, right? Like I got there in 2006 along with Drew Brees, Sean Payton, and
I remember you telling me this one day, like you were the missing link to the Saints winning the Super Bowl.
I know all these years the story,
and that's really how juicy.
I actually have the game on my DVR because they played it on ESPN like Instant Classics like one day. And it came on. I was like, oh my God, I recorded
my game.
Yeah. So I was literally
Drew Brees wouldn't even be here for one.
I was literally on ESPN like 10 times that night. We had a buddy of mine, he had 50-yard line tickets. He's like, hey, you want to go to the game? We got tickets. I was like, yeah, man. So we went literally front row, 50-yard line, Saints versus Falcons. The Green Day, I think, came and sung the Saints Come Marching. That song, they were there. The Superdome first game after Hurricane Katrina. We were there. You two was there too, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
And
That's who sings the song.
So it was a lot of fun. That was when they blocked the kick. Who was it?
Gleason, yeah.
Gleason blocks the kick. I mean, it was electric. Probably hands down that game and the Brett Favre game when he was playing for the Vikings and we beat
Bounty Gate.
And we beat him to go to the Super Bowl. Two favorite Saints games.
Do you remember when they won the Super Bowl? What'd you do that night?
I know exactly where
I remember what I did.
I just get goosebumps still whenever I see it.
What'd you do?
I don't remember what I was doing, to be honest with you. I feel like if I thought about it long enough, I could, but I'm drawing a blank right now.
So we're at Jug House. I was just, me and Jug were roommates.
Yeah.
And
I was in Florida at the Christian school.
Really?
Yeah, that's where I was. I had to think about it for a minute. Yeah.
So we went and it was me, Micah, DJ, Jug. We're all watching at his house, like on the big TV. And it was just like, it was so overwhelming. Like when they won, we're on the coast and we still went out after the game. It was a rough night.
At the time we were having these like New Year's parties every year at the W Hotel. It was called PCI. It stood for Party Club Incorporated. It's sort of funny. It was just a group of buddies that we formed a company to throw parties, right? And so that was our New Year's party for a solid 5 to 10 years, like whatever. I don't remember if you went to the W Hotel. It was pretty fun. But that same year, I think that was like 2010. We were like, hey, what are we doing for the Super Bowl? Because like the Saints are in it. So we rented out a balcony at Acme Oyster House, which, as you know, is right off of Bourbon. Yeah. One of the hottest restaurants on Bourbon. Coincidentally, is across the street from the Penthouse Club. And we had like I don't know how many, several hundred people there. And it was cool. But like, you remember the halftime where they did the onside kick and they get it back. And then it just, all of a sudden we went like, it went from looking like Peyton Manning was going to win to like the Saints were going to win. And you could just look off the balcony and just see Bourbon Street getting more
exploding,
and
bubbling,
more packed. And like they won. And I want to say it took us like 30 minutes to get across the street to go to, like,
to celebrate properly.
Yes, like it was insane. And then you saw pictures the next day of Canal Street. I mean, it was. I
still get goosebumps if I see the interception with Tracy Porter.
Oh yeah, this was such a great game. Like that was such a fun season. So to have like lived in New Orleans during that season was
pretty much wouldn't have won if Josh wouldn't have moved over.
I mean, for all practical purposes, Juicy J equals Saints
with you.
Super Bowl.
I will
write it down.
Josh.
Get a bumper sticker made
Josh
right now.
Is gonna
Fish and beer.
Josh is going to get a bit of credit.
Yeah,
Right
give
now,
the credit where credit's
Drew,
due.
Sean Payton, and Reggie Bush, they had a little to do with it as well.
Just minimal.
So let's skip all this. What got you, like? How long have you spin right here? Chess.
Oh, here we go.
When did you get in chess? And because you're ranked high in chess.
When did I
there's
start
a
playing
ranking in chess.
Yeah, there's a ranking.
Believe it or not,
I've been pulling. Yeah, it's a ranking.
Garrett, what are the rankings? I'm a 1600 level player.
That means I'm a 1500 level.
Yeah. So
no, he's on a different level when it comes to chess. That's fucking
so
crazy.
Chess is interesting for a lot of reasons because I think they say it's like a thinking man's game, right? Like and so it forces you to use your mind and be very strategic. Like you have to think 3-4 moves ahead. And that helps out in life and business, like just across the board, like being strategic. Like I've had multiple different bosses tell me like, it's crazy how strategic of a thinker you are. And I tell my son this all the time, like you got to think like 3 moves ahead and, take that to like GE training. So when I go to GE negotiations training, they teach you to like anticipate the question. So you're the sales guy, you're trying to sell equipment. You're going to go in there and try to pitch this idea and they're going to say, yes, no, maybe, call me later. Right.
Yeah.
So you got 4 different scenarios and then you got to have a talk track for each one. And then the rebuttal for each one. So basically this conversation branches off in a sense. Right. So that's sort of the strategy anticipation piece of it. And that's kind of what chess does. It keeps you like mentally sharp, I guess. And so I don't know, like I remember the very first time I ever played chess was with my, Jeremy Parker, Fabian.
Dr. Parker.
I was at Jeremy's house. I was probably like 10 or 11 years old and he beat me in like 4 moves. And I was like, that'll never happen again. But he's also like 40 and I'm 10, right?
Yeah.
We've all done that. And so I got, again, I've kind of always just like played it and had an interest in it. And then, like I said, Caden one day, if you come over to my house, you'll see a big chessboard sitting on my coffee table in the living room. And so he and I play. And,
very nice chessboard.
Yeah, I teach him. I'm just like, bro, it's like, you'd be surprised. Like in a lot of things, if you are anticipating your opponent's next move, again, whether it's in business or life, you'll more than likely beat them or win the deal or whatever the scenario is. If you're anticipating their next move and then potentially the move after that, assuming it's A or B or C.
Yeah, you plan it all out.
You're ready for it. You're ready. You're verbally ready. Your response, like whatever. And so, I don't know. Like I relate to it. And again, going back to
is it Bagger Vance? Was he the chess player?
No, he was a golfer. But going back to PlayStation or Fortnite or whatever your game is, it's sort of a bit of I guess mental health release. Like when you play, you're just like completely checked out. Like you're not thinking about. You better not be thinking about work or your wife or your girlfriend or whatever. You're just because like you're gonna lose. I've noticed like if I'm playing and eating, there's a 50% chance I'll lose because I'm like, that's a bigger chip. Let me get that one. Where's the salsa? I'm not like fully engaged.
What's your favorite chess piece?
The queen, obviously.
Wow. Because
she's the most dominant. She's the most like powerful one of all.
Which one do you relate yourself to the most?
That's tough. I mean, they're all very beneficial, useful in their own right? Like they all can move certain ways. Like the knight is people call it the horse. It's not a horse, it's a knight. The knight is very powerful because like
Garrett, can you pull a picture of a horse?
The knight
of a chess piece.
And by the way, it's chess with 2 S's, not a T. JoJo likes to call it chess. Can we play chess?
Dude,
I don't know what that is.
But honestly, I fuck up almost every word I say. So
yeah. So the knight is really good because he can move like the bishop just kind of goes diagonal, right? And so you can kind of see which way she's going, and the rook kind of just goes straight in line. But the knight, he can do like these L's, and he can do them like 8 different ways. So it's harder to kind of see or anticipate one of the 8 ways he's going. And a lot of times he could do one move and he's going to kill one of 2 people, right? And so you're like, shit, which one do I want to lose? This one or this one? And obviously it's going to be like the pawn over the bishop or the pawn over the rook or something like that. So that one's a sneaky one. He's the one that gets me the majority of the time. Like if I'll be straight out winning a game, and that knight will just go through and assassinate my entire squad. And then I'm just like, now I'm losing, and then I'll lose the game. So
what do you play on? Do you play the Ziggurat or
Yahoo chess?
Yahoo chess.
Caillavet 01.
Caillavet 01.
You want to get a game in?
Challenge him, Cody. $10, dollar match.
Caillavet 02's Caden. But if you're playing PlayStation, it's the reverse. He's Caillavet 01 and I'm Caillavet 02.
Oh, we're giving out handles now.
Yeah, I mean it's not hard. But no, I do like it. It's like I said, it's like just like a rookie.
Cody says I'll 100% beat Josh and chess.
I will beat Cody in 4 moves, and we can put it on
4
TV.
moves.
Yeah.
It's pretty confident.
It is what it is.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Josh, I want to thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me.
It was a good show. Everyone, go check out crawfishandbeer.com. We got some new merch out there, new hats.
Yeah, I like it. It looks good. You guys are doing
got a
great
Widow
thing.
Peak too.
I love the crawfish and beer. I'm just, you guys just keep doing things and reinventing, and you got the Crawfish Festival thing. I think this will be the 3rd year in a row now. So
yeah,
I love it. I thought about you guys on the way over here. I was stopping by Rouse's, and they got all this merch in there, and I'm like, why? And they are huge on supporting local, et cetera, et cetera. Like, why are you guys not Crawfish and Beer and Rouse's? Right?
Probably should work on it.
Where's your?
We probably need someone to come squeak a deal out for us.
I hear you're coming into downtown Ocean Springs.
Yeah, we're there.
We're at Charisma.
We're there.
Yeah. So why not?
Who knows?
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe
we might be in
Ross is
Costco.
I think we're
one
just
day.
trying to figure out and keep going further.
I mean, look, there's other
Golden Golf right now.
There's
It is
other
Golden Golf right
boutiques.
Well, no, but I'm saying I think it is like honestly behind it is Golden Golf. Like we've been working our ass off with Golden Golf. And and that is something.
But everything else is there, and it's evolving too. And it's never in a million years would any of us ever thought we were doing it to blossom to this level.
No,
so
good.
it's just a hard pull and
It's
commitment.
just cool when you see people wearing Crawfish and Beer. Like it's because it's like
I see them all the time.
It's slides and they know.
We were on WLOX the other night, and I saw somebody wearing a hat.
Shout out to Fly Llama. Shout out to everybody that supports.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Josh will kick your ass at chess.
Yeah, go
He's
like and
calling you out
share
right now. He literally $25.
If you enjoyed this episode, share it on Facebook or
Yeah,
YouTube. Or
No,
Yeah.
I've enjoyed
No,
it.
Josh called you out right now. $50. If you could be Josh, I'll give you $50.
gift cards.
No,
Gift cards.
cash.
Oh my god!
If you can be
I've
Josh,
been playing for days. No, it's fun.
$50.
We'll play.
All right, y'all hit me up. We got all the insurance for you, Cody. Hit me up, guys. We appreciate it. Y'all tune in next time. We'll
Thank
see y'all
you.
then.
Love y'all.
All right.